when because it's not a straight through line with your career because you're starting with MSNBC, you're doing very serious work with Lawrence O'Donnell and Journal. I assume it's pretty serious. I don't know what the
it was so serious that that's why I quit. It was so serious I burnt out. It was a lot of war coverage. We had covered Kosovo, the war in Kosovo. It was around the time of the 2000 election disaster, a nightmare, and the Clinton Lewinsky, all that stuff. So yeah, it was. I just burnt out on news being very, very dark and serious. Every time there was an airline crash, cable news covers it. So there's unfortunately, there's sort of a lot of death and destruction in cable news coverage. So yeah, I kind of burnt out on it and decided that I wanted to do something more fun.
So how does that translate from that to I want to write for children specifically? So as I recall, Boston Legal was not a kid's show.
Yeah. Well, when I came out and moved from New Jersey to California, went from news to Hollywood. Yeah, I wasn't actually doing kid stuff at first. So that was a little more similar. I went from, serious news to doing sort of serious adult drama. So I was working on shows that were probably in their own way as, dark and twisted as some of the news. So yeah, the kid stuff didn't come later until I started selling some of my own things. And that just sort of happened. It wasn't a conscious plan to become a kids writer. Just so happened I had some connections and I knew people at Nickelodeon and, things like that happened.
Okay, so I got you. I didn't know if you had a child and suddenly you're surrounded by all kids stuff all the time and like, yes.
No, I mean, I did have kids at that point, but yeah, they weren't too young to be watching any of this stuff. So yeah, it wasn't because of them, but now that my kids are sort of the age where they're watching and reading stuff, it's cool to be working in that area.
Well, yeah, no, that's the perfect time for it. And then, given the wide variety of things you've done up to this point, I'm assuming that eventually you'll move on and I don't know, do R-rated action movies or something.
Could be next. Gotta finish these 5 books first, and then.
So that's for sure going to happen. And then after the 5 books, do you think that you'll continue to write specific middle grade books, or do you want to write other things?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I right now I think I'd love to stay in this zone. But then I think as my son Hugh ages up, maybe I'll end up writing something that's more YA, so he'll be, reading it in high school. But yeah, I mean, right now I'm so obsessed and into the middle grade books that we're reading. I mean, it was funny. Someone was asking me the other day, I'm like, oh, what are you reading? I just started listing all these kids' books, and they were like, well, what are you talking about? So yeah, I just really love the middle grade zone right now. So yeah, for the near future at least.
Have you got some favorites?
Yeah, we just finished the Timmy Failure series, which was amazing. Really kind of weird and absurd and kind of like Wes Anderson, but in book form for kids. Right now we're reading the Middle School Worst Years of My Life series, which is great. We read the first Max Einstein, and we're, I think the second one's coming out or about to come out. So we're going to read that. And like I said, the Nerds books were really great spy books. So yeah, we're sort of all over the map in terms of genre. Diary of a Wimpy Kid. But yeah, I will say the thing I noticed reading stuff with my son is that a lot of the books are kind of dark and can be really gritty. Like Max Einstein, she's homeless in New York, and Timmy Failure's father, he has an absentee dad, and yeah, there's just a lot of sort of real world things that come up in these books for kids that I don't think they did that as much when we were younger and reading. At least I don't remember the books being like that kind of real and dark in spots, so.
And then we grew up and we said, wait, the world is dark? Why didn't someone tell me about this? Whereas today's kids
they'll know. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can't imagine having read a book about a homeless, lead character when I was growing up. I mean, just don't have any memory of reading anything like that. It was like Encyclopedia Brown and, Beverly Cleary and Matthew Christopher wrote those sports books. It was all, there was nothing very edgy, at least in what I was reading.
Well, as I recall, Ralph S. Mouse, well, now he lived in a hotel, but I know there was at least a sequel or two where he was homeless for a time, getting the road on his motorcycle. And
Okay. All right. Maybe there were. Yeah. Nothing stuck with me as like, wow, that's really dark.
Yeah, I don't think I would describe The Mouse and the Motorcycle as gritty.
For the time period, maybe. Yeah.
Although that does amuse me when writers go that way with absurd characters, where it's like, you could have taken this anyway. It's a fantastical premise. There's no realism to this. Why? Why is their life dark?
Right.
They could just as easily be happy.
Right. Yeah.